go to the mailbag then.
Pues.
First question, by the way, the mailbag is brought to you by everybody who sends in a question. So please send in questions because we love them.
Did we just miss a sponsorship?
I don't know. We probably did. I'm missing a lot of things today. But I'm flying by the seat of my pants.
He's got one working eye, by the way.
Thank God I was wearing my
You know what? Winging it's good. That's how I got through high school and college. And
yeah, 2 weeks
That's
ago.
good. I'm sure your customers will be glad to hear that.
Well, obviously, I don't wing everything else.
Winging it in the loan process is good.
Thank you.
All right. Rima wants to know.
Yes.
What are some surprises that first-time home buyers encounter when purchasing a home?
I totally checked out. What?
What are some surprises?
I think they're such different animals. Some of the surprises, if you're going into escrow on a short sale, are how long that process can be.
Yeah.
And how long your escrow period is going to be. And the extensions over and over. If it's an REO, you're dealing with an entity, not a specific person in most cases. So again, very different problems. And standard sales, you have more control. I mean, I think there's not as many surprises in standard sales. Would you say?
I think
absolutely. Well, and I think
what was the question? I totally missed the question.
This goes back to having a great buying team.
Yep.
Because you're only surprised if you're not expecting it. And a great buying team is going to help prepare you for everything along the way because you simply haven't had the experience before.
It's the managing expectations.
It's definitely not different. You're not going to have a different experience. It's just that you haven't had that experience before. So if you bought 5 homes, you're going to have the same problems and the same issues, same stuff, whether you're a first-time home buyer or...
You know what? People who have bought before, especially if they bought 4 or 5 years ago, it feels like something completely new.
It's actually worse.
It's actually more, it's a struggle. It's not a struggle, but it's a challenge for me because I'm managing what they thought how it used to be, which
it didn't used to be
they
like this.
Breathed and they got qualified, and now it's much more strange. And I'm like, hey, if they ask you for a pint of blood, don't be surprised, something like that.
What was your shoe size when you were 7?
Yeah. So that is one of the surprises that I see if they have bought before.
Okay.
I hope that does that answer your question?
I think
we circled.
What was the question? I didn't even know what the question was.
The question was, what are some of the surprises you can expect as a first-time home buyer?
Oh, I know one. I got one.
Yes,
okay.
Alyssa's raising her hand. Alissa.
This is the first surprise I always get in the first conversation. They're surprised there are closing costs. They think it's just the down payment. And they're like, oh, I have $4,000. And I'm like, okay, well, when we come back and I discuss, I'm like, hey, so when you're purchasing a property, there's 2 parts of costs. One part is the down payment and the other part is the closing costs. They're like, what? They're like, closing costs. I'm
so we talked about this. If you're using FHA at a 3.5% down, how much should you really have? How much should you really be prepared to pay?
What do they average?
7 or 8%, right?
I would say 7%. If you're looking at FHA, price of the home. So say
$7,000 for every $100,000.
So say $300,000 home. 7% of that, $21,000. Yeah.
Yeah, but you can whittle that down with down payment assistance programs, seller concessions. You can start whittling that down to just the down payment, but that doesn't mean the cost.
I actually have somebody that's only bringing half a percent.
So what you're saying is one of the surprises you see often is that people don't realize that above and beyond the down payment,
there's
going to be approximately 7% in cost.
I would say 4 out of 5 first-time home buyers that I talk to.
There you go.
Excellent.
That answers the question.